Earth Leviathan. Hazard level B, indestructible, they'll insta-kill you, they have a power level of 2, a max spawn of 3, and are most commonly found on experimentation. Earth Leviathans have 3 phases: roaming, tracking, and emerging. When an earthworm first spawns, it enters its roaming phase, which pulls from the same function as jesters and forest keepers. To keep it simple, these white spheres around the map are called nodes, and it's what earthworms use to pathfind. When an earthworm first spawns, it will choose the closest node and begin moving towards that node. Once it gets close enough, it will check that node off and then move to another node and repeat this process over and over and over. There is a pattern behind how earthworms select nodes. I went much more in depth on this function in my Jesters video, so if you're interested in those patterns, go check that video out. While the earthworm is roaming, it has a 15-meter bubble around it. If any players walk within this bubble, this will send the earthworm into its tracking phase. You'll know an earthworm is in this phase because it will make a groaning sound like this. As soon as this phase begins, the bubble around the earthworm goes from 15 meters to 19 meters. The earthworm will always follow the closest player within this bubble. As long as you are within this bubble, the earthworm will stay in this phase following you. But as soon as you leave this bubble, the earthworm will be sent back into phase 1. So here's an in-game example. We can see there is an earthworm underground in phase 1 roaming from node to node. As soon as I step within 15 meters of that worm, it will automatically go into phase 2 and begin tracking me. What's important to know about this phase is that you're a little faster than the earthworm when you're walking. So if you know you're on the outer edge of that circle and you're walking in a straight line, then you don't have to worry about the earthworm catching up. But if you are making turns, just remember that the earthworm will take the shortest path to you, so it might catch up. The earthworm also has a second bubble. This one is much smaller with a radius of 4. For every 1/5 of a second a player is standing within this 4 meters, there is a 17% chance the earthworm will enter phase 3. So let's say the red circle is the 4-meter bubble and I am the blue circle. For every 0.2 seconds I'm standing in this red circle, there is a random number chosen from 1 through 100. If that number is anywhere between 1 and 17, then the earthworm will enter phase 3. As soon as this phase begins, the earthworm will stop moving and you'll see particles above ground designating where the earthworm is about to emerge from. The earthworm will then blast out of the ground, consuming anything it collides with. This includes every enemy except the ghost girl. The earthworm can emerge anywhere between 1/3 of a second and 2 seconds the moment you see those particles. Here's an example of how fast it can emerge. And here's an example of how slow it can emerge. Earthworms have no effect on beehives or items that are on the floor, but if a player is killed by an earthworm, all of their items will completely disappear. When an earthworm emerges, it usually will go in areas with the most space. 10 seconds after they have landed, they will go back into phase 1. Huge shout out to everyone in this Discord call. They are the reason we have all this information on earthworms. If you see them in Discord, say what's up. There is a safe zone on the ship. If you're standing pretty much anywhere within this highlighted area, earthworms cannot track you. They are invincible and are not affected by zap guns, stun grenades, or radar boosters. The best way to deal with earthworms is to back up as soon as they start tracking you. Drop all your items and then slowly move backwards to bait the earthworm towards you. As soon as you see those particles, sprint backwards to dodge the attack. We just hit 20,000 subscribers. I know I don't sound super excited. It's because it's 2:30 in the morning and I'm super tired, but I just wanted to say thank you for all the love and support you guys have been showing me over the last couple months.